Watch and the Forest Watcher. Deforestation is outside some settlements, so they look like they're probably smallholder shifting agriculture deforestation. The forest is flooded right now, so we're actually in a boat going through the lower canopy, which is always interesting. There are lots of parrots, including macaws, and squirrel monkeys around right now. Once we get a bit closer, we're going to take the drone up to get a bird's eye view of what's going on. I just did a drone overflight of the areas identified via Global Forest Watch here in Colombia. And indeed, there was evidence of recent deforestation. It looks like the areas have now been planted with some small crop. The areas that have been cleared look like they're anywhere from about half a hectare to maybe 2 hectares. I'm going to go visit the local community here in a little bit and just see what's going on. I'm in a community now, which is about 5 kilometers from the deforestation identified using Global Forest Watch, and did a drone flyover of. And I talked with the community, I showed them these photos, and they were quite surprised to see them. At first they asked whether this was across the border in Brazil or Peru, but I said no, and I described where it was. And this is small-scale coca cultivation that they were not aware of, that's occurring within their community forest. This is actually a common issue in some of the community areas where illegal settlers come in, or even narco-traffickers, and clear community forests to grow this plant, which is used for making cocaine. The elder I spoke with was not particularly happy to see this, and he asked me for the specific area so they could go investigate.
they see you coming, no point in trying to throw any curves. Tonight, you may have got us, but tomorrow we'll need it done. If it's a fight you're after, we'll be there. No questions asked. But if it's peace, peace for this wild land, our hearts will give you. Our hearts beat wild and green. Tomorrow, there's hope for you yet. Tomorrow, we rise to you.
Hi, I'm Gary Shapiro, President and co-founder of the Orangutan Republic Foundation. The Orangutan Republic Foundation exists for one reason: to save wild orangutans from extinction. The word orangutan means person of the forest in the Malay language. Now, these intelligent great apes are one of our closest living relatives in the animal kingdom. In fact, we share 97% of our genes with them. Now, I personally learned how bright these animals are when I was teaching them sign language in the jungles of Borneo in the 1970s. There was one very special orangutan named Princess. Like so many other young orangutans, Princess was an orphan. Her mother was killed by poachers who were trying to sell her into the illegal pet trade. Orangutan mothers and their offspring share a very special bond that lasts about 8 years, and no mother willingly gives up her child. After I met Princess, she actually adopted me as her dad. We communicated in sign language, and she went on to learn nearly 40 signs in 2 years. Their intellect and close relationship to our species hasn't protected them from being threatened. Over the past 20 years, orangutans have lost 80% of their habitat due to logging, mining, and most recently, large-scale plantations. Their population has plummeted 80% over the past 75 years. They live in fragmented populations on the islands of Borneo and Sumatra. On Sumatra, they're considered critically endangered. At the Orangutan Republic Foundation, we target the root causes threatening the orangutan: lack of education, widespread poverty, and misplaced fear. We call attention to their plight by working with the local government, educating farmers, and protecting the rich local habitat. And we know it's not enough to tell people not to be destructive, so we give them sustainable alternatives. We help spread organic farming techniques, build botanical nurseries, and we sponsor tree planting in degraded areas, to give you just a few examples. The best part is, our projects have an even wider effect. Our foundation helps many other species that simply aren't as charismatic as the orangutan. Our work also helps save the rainforest ecosystem, the lungs of the earth, and we even address global climate change. We are a small but influential organization positioned in Indonesia to do much more. Your donation helps us protect orangutans and preserve the most delicate parts of our earth. No matter how you pitch in, you'll be helping to save a species, and your generosity will make a big difference. Thank you.
Hi, Ann Rustin here, and I am calling to thank you for granting me your 2019 Pongo Environmental Award.
And thank you so much for this Pongo Award. I am humbled and so honored to be associated with the past winners, such luminous names, lovers of the planet and the life on it. It was so eye-opening to be able to go up to the Arctic Refuge and tell the stories of the incredible wildlife and landscapes that are at risk up there, and what exactly policies are changing as we're distracted tweet by tweet.
Hi everybody. Firstly, let me say how thrilled I am and proud to get this award from the Orangutan Republik Foundation. We're standing right now at the edge of the Gunung Leuser National Park in North Sumatra, but just as importantly, and more importantly, in fact, it's also the edge of the 2.6 million hectare Leuser ecosystem. Now, 85% of all the Sumatran orangutans left in the world live within this 2.6 million hectare Leuser ecosystem. It's also the last place on Earth, the only place where you can find orangutans, rhinos, elephants, and tigers living side by side.
Hello, I'm Fisher Stevens, the director of Before the Flood. Thank you so much for this Pongo Environmental Award. This is some rehydrating spray, but I appreciate the award, and I wish I could be there myself in person to accept it. I was lucky enough to go to the Leuser ecosystem and film orangutans both in the wild and being orphaned and saved by a lot of the great work that Dr. Ian Singleton's doing, another recipient of this award.
Hi, it's me Hardy and she is Poppy. I would like to say thank you for helping us to create second chance for orphan orangutan like them. Currently there are 20 orangutan in our center. Thanks to the Orangutan Project and the OURF for assisting us, and I apologize for cannot attend the tonight fundraiser. All the best for you, and I really honored for the award. Thank you.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall. I want to say, first of all, how sorry I am that I can't be with you on this special evening. And secondly, how really honored I am to have this Pongo Award. I actually love orangutans, even though, of course, I work with chimpanzees.
Alistair and I, and actually the whole Our Planet team, are so sad that we can't be with you tonight to receive this prestigious award. Receiving an award from colleagues in the wildlife business is always the very best thing, because we so appreciate being honoured by people like you who do so much for the wildlife that we actually cherish.
My name is Luis Ahoyas. I'm the director of a film called Racing Extinction, and I'm the executive director of the Oceanic Preservation Society. Thank you so much for this award tonight. I appreciate it. Wish I could be there with you all. But what we're most proud of at the Oceanic Preservation Society is our outreach work, working with other groups like yours to try to preserve these last wild places.
My name is Hadisiswoyo. I'm the founder of the Orangutan Ecosystem Center, a local NGO that is dedicated to the survival of the orangutan in Sumatra. I'm very pleased that I've been given a very prestigious award, the Pongo Environmental Award, by our partner, Orangutan Republik Foundation. I'm very happy that our work to save the orangutan in Sumatra has been well acknowledged by many people, including people in America and our partners, NGOs, and this must be sustained. The efforts to save the orangutan from life-threatening situation must be continued, and we need your support. And thank you very much for all your encouragement, so we can carry on with the work to save the orangutan and deer and forest homes.
Hi, this is Rhett Butler from Mongabay. I'm here in the Peruvian Amazon, right on the border with Colombia, with two indigenous guides, and we're going through the flooded forest to go check out some recent deforestation. Forest Watch and the Forest Watcher. Deforestation is outside some settlements, so they look like they're probably smallholder shifting agriculture deforestation. The forest is flooded right now, so we're actually in a boat going through the lower canopy, which is always interesting. There are lots of parrots, including macaws, and squirrel monkeys around right now. Once we get a bit closer, I'm going to take the drone up to get a bird's eye view of what's going on. I just did a drone overflight of the areas identified via Global Forest Watch here in Colombia, and indeed there was evidence of recent deforestation. It looks like the areas have now been planted with some small crop. The areas that have been cleared look like they're anywhere from about half a hectare to maybe 2 hectares. I'm going to go visit the local community here in a little bit and just see what's going on. I'm in a community now, which is about 5 kilometers from the deforestation identified using Global Forest Watch, and did a drone flyover of. And I talked with the community, I showed them these photos, and they were quite surprised to see them. At first they asked whether this was across the border in Brazil or Peru, but I know I said no, and I described where it was. And this is small-scale coca cultivation that they were not aware of, that's occurring within their community forest. This is actually a common issue in some of the community areas where illegal settlers come in, or even narco-traffickers, and clear community forests to grow this plant, which is used for making cocaine. The elder I spoke with was not particularly happy to see this, and he asked me for the specific area so they could go investigate.
we see you coming. No point in trying to throw any curves. Tonight, you may have got us, but tomorrow we'll need it done. If it's a fight you're after, we'll be there. No questions asked. But if it's peace, peace for this wild land, our hearts will give you. Our hearts beat wild and green. Tomorrow, there's hope for you yet. Tomorrow, we rise to you.
Hi, I'm Gary Shapiro, president and co-founder of the Orangutan Republic Foundation. The Orangutan Republic Foundation exists for one reason: to save wild orangutans from extinction. The word orangutan means person of the forest in the Malay language. Now, these intelligent great apes are one of our closest living relatives in the animal kingdom. In fact, we share 97% of our genes with them. Now, I personally learned how bright these animals are when I was teaching them sign language in the jungles of Borneo in the 1970s. There was one very special orangutan named Princess. Like so many other young orangutans, Princess was an orphan. Her mother was killed by poachers who were trying to sell her into the illegal pet trade. Orangutan mothers and their offspring share a very special bond that lasts about 8 years, and no mother willingly gives up her child. After I met Princess, she actually adopted me as her dad. We communicated in sign language, and she went on to learn nearly 40 signs in 2 years. Their intellect and close relationship to our species hasn't protected them from being threatened. Over the past 20 years, orangutans have lost 80% of their habitat due to logging, mining, and most recently, large-scale plantations. Their population has plummeted 80% over the past 75 years. They live in fragmented populations on the islands of Borneo and Sumatra. On Sumatra, they're considered critically endangered. At the Orangutan Republic Foundation, we target the root causes threatening the orangutan: lack of education, widespread poverty, and misplaced fear. We call attention to their plight by working with the local government, educating farmers, and protecting the rich local habitat. And we know it's not enough to tell people not to be destructive, so we give them sustainable alternatives. We help spread organic farming techniques, build botanical nurseries, and we sponsor tree planting in degraded areas, to give you just a few examples. The best part is, our projects have an even wider effect. Our foundation helps many other species that simply aren't as charismatic as the orangutan. Our work also helps save the rainforest ecosystem, the lungs of the earth, and we even address global climate change. We are a small but influential organization positioned in Indonesia to do much more. Your donation helps us protect orangutans and preserve the most delicate parts of our Earth. No matter how you pitch in, you'll be helping to save a species, and your generosity will make a big difference. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to the Orangutan Republic Foundation's 7th annual Pongo Environmental Awards and our first virtual fundraiser. My name is Gary Shapiro, President and co-founder of the Orangutan Republic Foundation, an organization whose mission is saving wild orangutans from extinction through education. My wife Ingriani and I started the foundation 16 years ago, but I've been studying and working on behalf of our simian cousins, the orangutans, for over 47 years. I'm best known for my pioneering research teaching sign language to ex-captive orangutans in the jungles of Borneo over 40 years ago. Now, tonight, we're doing something new. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed our world and how we meet and conduct business. Usually we have a reception and a sit-down dinner for 75 to 150 people where we present the awards. Last year, we were at a local studio and had a fabulous evening of food and music as we honored the Pongo recipients. This year, our award show and benefit are being live streamed on multiple platforms, allowing anyone on the planet with an internet connection to join us. So if you are aware of someone who might be interested in watching, please let them know. And just to be clear, everyone is donating their services tonight to make this live stream happen. Initially, we sold tickets online as part of our regular fundraising model, but it became apparent that we needed to encourage wider participation. So we opened it up for the whole world. Now, paid ticket holders will be recognized on the screen as we encourage everyone to make at least a $25 donation to have your name appear. And for anyone donating $500 or more, our orangutan friend will pop up from below to announce their generosity. You can give by a text to donate feature on your phone. Text the code CECP to 44321 or go online to tinyurl.com/CECP2020. Why CECP? Well, we are campaigning tonight to support the CECP, Community Education and Conservation Program, our field operation in North Sumatra that is working with local villagers to preserve habitat and wildlife like orangutans. We'll be talking later with the leader of the Green Sumatra Foundation, the organization that is operating the program. We're also going to learn more about other Orangutan Republic-sponsored education programs later in the show. But you can help in another way. I want to orient you to our website where we are wrapping up a week-long silent auction on some great items to benefit the Orangutan Republic Foundation. For example, while you're watching tonight, you can grab your smartphone and search for something you might have been looking for, a gift maybe you would like to give to someone special. You might get lucky and get it at a great price. How about a 7-day stay in a private villa in Bali? Check it out. Bidding will end later tonight. Or how about that book about Princess that was written about my time with her in the jungles? That's also available. In a few minutes, we'll be giving out our first Pongo Environmental Award for the night. But now, I want to bring in actor and environmentalist Ed Begley Jr., who's been a friend of the Foundation's for many years. Ed's been our MC in the past, but tonight he will be co-hosting with me. Thanks, Ed, for joining us. How have you been?
Very good, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. And, you know, generally, Ed, I always like to ask you to start off our events with some inspirational words. Do you got anything you'd like to say to our listening audience?
A couple of things. I'll quote some very smart people. I think it was Aldo Leopold who said, any intelligent tinkerer saves all the pieces. You don't want to lose these wonderful many species that are part of this web of life that we all enjoy. You don't want to lose them because they're unique and special and they're beautiful in every way. But you also don't want to lose them for your own well-being. You need these many species, even if you don't care deeply about the orangutans and the many other species that we do care about. For your own well-being, one wonders how many rivets can you lose from an airplane before it ceases to fly? At some point, if you lose too many rivets, we all crash. And so that's something we have to keep in mind for our own well-being, for our own health and welfare, our own survival. We need to celebrate, protect, and enjoy these many wonderful species that are part of our web of life.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for those very important words. You know, we're really happy to have you here with us tonight. And to start things off, can you maybe help us introduce our first musical presentation?
Absolutely. I will tell you right now. It's J.P. Taylor, is that correct?
That's correct.
We're going to hear some music from an environmental singer and songwriter who's been using his talents to educate and entertain young people for many years. Welcome, please, Mr. J.P. Taylor.
Hey, everybody. This is J.P. Taylor. And I'd like to say, first and very foremost, thank you for being here. Thank you for all you're all doing. And thank you for being a part of this event. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for the support of Orangutan Republic Foundation. And I'm sure you know that, and as well as I know, that they're making a difference on the ground in the place where our orangutan friends are. So it's a very worthy cause. This is a very worthy event. I'd like to thank Gary Shapiro for inviting me to come play a song for you. So it's just my little thank you to you. And this is just a song simply called Orangutan. So if you feel the spirit and want to join in, by all means, please do. Okay. All right. So here we go. Much the same I see. When I look into your eyes, I can tell we're family. Yeah. Orangutan, person of the forest, forever wild and forever free. You live your life deep in the jungle. You live your life way on up in the trees. La 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 la. But now they want to take you home and your life among the trees. And I know you can't fight back alone, but we've got your back, you'll see. Orangutan, person of the forest, forever wild and forever free. You live your life deep in the jungle. You live your life way on up in the trees. La 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 la, 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 la 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 la. Orangutan, person of the forest, forever wild and forever free. You live your life deep in the jungle. You live your life way on up in the trees. La la la, la la la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all the help. Good to see you.
Thank you, J.P. Taylor. Orangutan, the title of J.P.'s song, is Why We're Here, to help raise funds for the Orangutan Republic's programs helping people who protect and conserve Indonesia's persons of the forest, which is what the name orangutan means in the Indonesian language. Orang means person, hutan is forest, There's 3 species of orangutans and all are critically endangered. Wild orangutans are now only found on the 2 islands of Borneo and Sumatra. And while some orangutans are found in Malaysia's North Borneo states of Sarawak and Sabah, nearly 80% of them are found in Indonesia, which governs all of Sumatra and most of Borneo. When we visit orangutans, conduct our research, or work with other organizations in Indonesia, we do so with the permission and support of the Indonesian government. Government and non-governmental organizations collaborate today under agreements to ensure the activities conducted are in the best interest of the nation. And while we may occasionally disagree on developmental policies that threaten wildlife, we all care about preserving Indonesia's rich biodiversity and creating a sustainable future. Now tonight, we are privileged to have the Consul General of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Saud Krisnawan, or Pak Wawan as we call him. He's with us tonight to say a few words. I've gotten to know Pak Wawan over the past couple of years and knows he's fully supportive of the work we're doing. In fact, he and the consulate office were planning to host our annual event there at their newly renovated event auditorium. However, the pandemic changed those plans. Let's hear from the Consul General.
Gary Shapiro, President and co-founder of Orangutan Republic Foundation. Ed Begley Jr, the environmentalist. Committee of tonight's 7th Annual Pongo Environmental Awards. Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Gary and Ingrid Shapiro and the extended family of the Orangutan Republic Foundation, also Ed Begley Jr. for hosting this event. Likewise, a big congratulations to the awardees Jamartin Sihite and Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation, Mongabay and founder Rhett Butler, Farwiza Farhan and the Acehnis organization, also known as HAkA, if not us, then who? And founder Paul Redman, Guardians of Life, the short film's producer Shawn Manson. I'm very pleased to be celebrating with you all through virtually. The current COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted uncertainties over the economy, politics, also physical and mental health. However, one thing is certain, one thing we all share tonight, we shall not be complacent. We must do more for the orangutans. Not all of us may be able to do what Jamartin is doing in Kalimantan, in reintroducing and conserving orangutans and their habitat, or raising interest in and appreciation of wildlands and wildlife, as Rhett is able to, or champion legal advocacy and conservation action as Farwiza is dedicated to, or what Paul is working on with the indigenous and local people, let alone producing a Hollywood film like Shawn. However, all of us can do something, no matter how small. The government of Indonesia is fully supportive and continues to dedicate resources towards the conservation of orangutans and their habitat. Therefore, we hope individuals and organizations such as yourselves will be our partners moving this forward. Gary and Ed and the whole Orangutan Republic Foundation, I hope that this event will yield dividends in further conserving orangutans, as well as raising awareness and educating the global community on the importance of our collective efforts to protect and conserve orangutans and their habitat. To all the recipients of the 7th Annual Pongo Environmental Awards, we salute your work and dedication. Congratulations once again. May we strive to have a positive mindset and keep an optimistic outlook, as these are most important in coping with difficult circumstances in this new normal. Most importantly, let us be reminded that in 4 days is the International Orangutans Day. Let's reach deep with our hearts so that causes such as tonight's will keep on going for years to come. I thank you.
Thank you. Terima kasih, Pak Wawan. I look forward to having our next event at the Consulate's Event Auditorium. Pak Wawan also mentioned International Orangutan Day on August 19th. Consider helping us tonight as a way to commemorate this special day. I also want to mention that in 2 days it'll be Indonesia's Independence Day, their 75th. So congratulations to Indonesia on August 17th. Now I'm going to walk from the forest over to the award stage and give a brief background on the Pongo Awards. Now, Pongo is the scientific name of the orangutan. It was first created and awarded in 2006 at an orangutan conference in Sumatra, acknowledging individuals for significant support to the Orangutan Republic. The Pongo Awards were renamed in 2014 as the Pongo Environmental Awards. This change reflected an expansion of our recognition of achievements in more than just orangutan conservation and support of our group. We now honor individuals and organizations for significant environmental achievement in various fields and endeavors. In 2015, we gave Dr. Jane Goodall a Pongo Award, and she was so thrilled, she gave us her signature chimpanzee vocalization. Now, we've honored conservationists, celebrities, scientists, technologies, green products, and media, especially when it touches on large environmental issues, not only for orangutans. The nominating committee of the Orangutan Republic Foundation evaluates and selects suggested individuals and organizations as to their sustained contribution to the improved understanding and appreciation of orangutans, endangered species, rainforest habitat, and for improving conditions for orangutans and other animals globally, as well as sustainability issues in conservation. The honorees receive this beautiful bust, the Pongo, a statuette with the bust of the orangutan named Nick, superbly crafted by artist Jason Shaneman, inscribed along with a certificate specifying why they are being honored. Tonight, we are going to present 5 new awards to individuals and their organizations who are accomplished in their own field and worthy of the Pongo. But let's take a look at some of our past recipients who received the Pongo Environmental Award.
Hi, Ann Rustin here, and I am calling to thank you for granting me your 2019 Pongo Environmental Award.
And thank you so much for this Pongo Award. I am humbled and so honored to be associated with the past winners, such luminous names, lovers of the planet and the life on it. It was so eye-opening to be able to go up to the Arctic Refuge and tell the stories of the incredible wildlife and landscapes that are at risk up there and what exactly policies are changing as we're distracted tweet by tweet.
Hi everybody. Firstly, let me say how thrilled I am and proud to get this award from the Orangutan Republic Foundation. We're standing right now at the edge of the Gunung Leuser National Park in North Sumatra, but just as importantly, and more importantly, in fact, it's also the edge of the 2.6 million hectare Leuser ecosystem. Now, 85% of all the Sumatran orangutans left in the world live within this 2.6 million hectare Leuser ecosystem. It's also the last place on Earth, the only place where you can find orangutans, rhinos, elephants, and tigers living side by side.
Hello, I'm Fisher Stevens, the director of Before the Flood. Thank you so much for this Pongo Environmental Award. This is some rehydrating spray, but I appreciate the award, and I wish I could be there myself in person to accept it. I was lucky enough to go to the Leuser ecosystem and film orangutans both in the wild and being orphaned and saved by a lot of the great work that Dr. Ian Singleton's doing, another recipient of this award.
Hi, it's me Harvey and she is Poppy. I would like to say thank you for helping us to create second chance for orphan orangutan like them. Currently, there are 20 orangutan in our center. Thanks to the Orangutan Project and the OURF for assisting us, and I apologize for cannot attend the tonight fundraiser. All the best for you, and I really honored for the award. Thank you.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall. I want to say, first of all, how sorry I am that I can't be with you on this special evening. And secondly, how really honored I am to have this Pongo award. I actually love orangutans, even though, of course, I work with chimpanzees.
Alistair and I, and actually the whole Our Planet team, are so sad that we can't be with you tonight to receive this prestigious award. Receiving an award from colleagues in the wildlife business is always the very best thing, because we so appreciate being honoured by people like you who do so much for the wildlife that we actually cherish.
My name is Luis Ahoyas. I'm the director of a film called Racing Extinction, and I'm the executive director of the Oceanic Preservation Society. Thank you so much for this award tonight. I appreciate it. Wish I could be there with you all. But what we're most proud of at the Oceanic Preservation Society is our outreach work, working with other groups like yours to try to preserve these last wild places.
My name is Hadisiswoyo. I'm the founder of the Orangutan Center, a local NGO that is dedicated to the survival of the orangutan in Sumatra. I'm very pleased that I've been given a very prestigious award, the Pongo Environmental Award, by our partner, Orangutan Republik Foundation. I'm very happy that our work to save the orangutan in Sumatra has been well acknowledged by many people, including people in America and our partners and heroes. And this must be sustained, the efforts to save the orangutan from life-threatening situation must be continued, and we need your support. And thank you very much for all your encouragement so we can carry on with the work to save the orangutan and deer and forest homes.
I first met Jamartin Sihite last year at the foothills of an active volcano, Mount Merapi in central Java. We were both lecturing to the students at an outdoor school run by the Center for Orangutan Protection. We both spoke about orangutans from a conservation perspective, but I was most impressed by his knowledge and the fact that he is the CEO of the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation. BOSS Foundation, as it's known, has been operating in Central and East Borneo for nearly 30 years and has been instrumental in the modernization of the orangutan reintroduction methodology. Since beginning in 1991, BOSS Foundation has released over 400 orangutans to return to a life in the wild. And for those of you who have seen the program, Orangutan Island, you will know that it's the BOSS Foundation that's behind the efforts to give a second chance to rescued orphaned orangutans. Let's learn a little bit more about the work of the BOSS Foundation in this brief presentation. Jamartin has been directing the organization since 2011 and has faced many numerous challenges over the years as he's made a positive impact for the future of our red-haired cousins. The Orangutan Republic Foundation is therefore awarding Jamartin Sihite with the first Pongo Environmental Award of the evening for the work of his foundation and his able stewardship of the organization on behalf of thousands of orangutans in Borneo. Jamartin, I know you're live with us right now. This is the award that I will bring to Indonesia and give to you personally on my next trip. So I'd like to give you a few minutes to acknowledge what we're doing tonight, maybe a small speech. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jamartin Sihite from the BOS Foundation. We are extremely honored to be receiving such an important award for sustained achievement in rescuing, reintroducing, and conserving orangutan and their rainforest habitat in Central and East Kalimantan at the 7th Annual Pongo Environmental Awards. I am delighted to be recognized alongside the other remarkable and deserving award recipients. This accomplishment is not something that I achieve alone. We have over 400 staff across our rehabilitation center and release site, as well as in our head office, all of whom continue to fight and work for the survival of the orangutan, despite the challenging circumstances we face today. Allow me to say thank you to all BOS Foundation team, because without them, I am nothing in this world. Presently, the BOS Foundation is caring for 429 orangutan in both of our program, in both of our rehabilitation center. We commonly refer to orangutan as the gardeners of the forest. They play a vital role in seed dispersal and in maintaining the health of the forest ecosystem, which is critical for the well-being of people and host for other animals. By conserving the orangutan's habitat, we are also supporting local communities and other species. The conservation of orangutan is a complex and global problem, meaning the solution must be equally as complex and global. To be successful, we have to collaborate with stakeholders of all kinds from countries around the world. We will not be where we are today in the fight against extinction without the support that we receive from local communities, responsible corporations, and sympathetic non-profit organizations. And we would like also to extend our gratitude to Indonesian government, the Indonesian Ministry of Environmental and Forestry, and especially to our BOS Foundation partners organization, all of which make our work possible. Last but not least, thank you to Orangutan Republik for valuing a local orangutan conservation foundation like us. Just to remind all of us, BOS Foundation is local NGO. I hope that this recognition of our work can serve as inspiration to others in the field. Remember, my friends, if our work can make a difference, so can yours. We will continue our efforts in conserving orangutan and their rainforest habitat, both in Central and East Kalimantan. Together, we can conquer any obstacle that threatens the future of orangutans and their habitat. I'm humble and appreciative. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you. Okay.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Leif Cox from Down Under. Leif is coming to us from Perth, Australia, where he lives with his wife Wendy and their dogs. I first met Leif last year at the Orangutan Republic's annual event. He had just published his latest book, which is Finding Our Humanity, a personal journey into what the orangutans can teach us about our own humanity. The stop in Los Angeles was part of his international book tour promoting that new release. He's been working on behalf of orangutans for nearly 30 years, first in the captive setting, specializing in husbandry of the species, and later in the conservation field, where he now works full-time with several organizations. He's also won some prestigious awards, including the Pongo Award twice, Order of Australia earlier this year, serves as VP of the Orangutan Republic Foundation, serves as the US chapter of the Orangutan Project. It's good to see you again, my friend. I want to ask you a few questions if you have some time. Hope everybody better understand why orangutans are in big trouble. First, what is the biggest threat that is facing orangutans today?
Oh, the biggest threat today is the conversion of its rainforest habitat into unsustainable monocultures. And this is the major threat which is accumulated after the additional threats of illegal logging and illegal poaching, which have reduced the orangutan numbers to the severe levels that they exist today.
What is TOP doing to secure the future of orangutans?
Our vision is to save 8 complete functioning ecosystems of the right type, shape, and size of rainforest that orangutans, the other biodiversity, wildlife, and indigenous communities can survive this extinction crisis. And so we're working with many partners and many fantastic individuals and organizations to piece together these ecosystems before it's too late. Because if we don't do this within the next 10 years, we certainly will have orangutans, but the populations may be unsustainable. We'll certainly have rainforests, but those ecosystems won't be the right type, shape, and size to allow them to form strategic arcs to prevent the extinction of megafauna such as orangutans, tigers, and elephants.
I mentioned the partnership of TOP and OURF earlier. How has that partnership helped in addressing the challenges facing groups like TOP to do their work?
Joining together in a holistic approach is the best way that we can achieve meaningful outcomes. And Orangutan Republic has strategically positioned itself to develop the skills and momentum and through education of local heroes of orangutan conservation and local communities. And this is the strategic intent, but these are the stakeholders and the guardians which we will be handing over the work we're doing to have a sustainable future, and a future where orangutans and other wildlife will survive into the 21st century.
What kind of actions can everyday people like myself do to help support the orangutans and the rainforest?
For me, as a human species, we're successful not because we're particularly skilled or good at anything in particular. We've been successful because we collaborate into groups to achieve meaningful outcomes. So if us as individuals want to achieve anything, including saving the orangutans and sustaining the rainforest, we have to collectivize. So my advice is always to join an organization, or at least financially support an organization such as the Orangutan Republic Foundation that can provide the meaningful outcomes that you want to achieve in the world. Our individual actions are only important and only significant when we have the ability to collectivize with each other to achieve those outcomes.
Now tell me this, how has COVID-19 and the horrific brush fires in Australia affected TOP?
Unfortunately, we're seeing these feedback loops where global warming, which is caused more by destruction of rainforests and all the transport systems in the world combined, has caused these massive fires in Australia, which then reduces our income because all the money and resources are going to support those people who have lost everything in these massive fires throughout Australia. And we're also seeing this again in California this year. And then again, the destruction of the rainforest and destruction of wildlife and persecution of wildlife has caused COVID-19, where a pandemic is caused from our abuse and misuse of wild animals. And so again, our income and funding has dropped because of these reasons. And so we're in this vicious feedback loop where as we're trying to save the rainforest and wildlife, the results of our inability to do this reduces our income and therefore again reduces our ability to achieve meaningful outcomes. So we really have to push through this crisis and do everything we can to get the funding available to make the meaningful actions to turn the situation around and save these key ecosystems and rainforests and megafauna and biodiversity before it's too late.
Thank you, Leif. We really appreciate your great wisdom in these matters. We're hoping you can stand by, perhaps answer a few more questions later in the program.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
As to why we're here taking action tonight, let's once again review how people watching can help us out tonight. Because we're holding our annual fundraiser as well as honoring Pongo Environmental Award winners, we need to encourage everyone watching to find the moment tonight to help us with our goal of raising $25,000. This is a doable goal and one that is specific and relevant. It is what we need to help keep our field team operating in and around the looser ecosystem during the last quarter of this year. Now, later tonight, we're going to be talking with Mr. Alfi Siregar, a young man who created the Green Sumatra Foundation and who's project director for the Community Education and Conservation Program. That's the CECP. Now, Mr. Alfi and his staff work with villagers and local leaders to help educate the people who live at the border of the national park about orangutans and the laws protecting the various endangered species, including orangutans. In addition, the team brings in technical expertise to help local farmers transition from chemical fertilizers and toxic insecticides to organic farming and integrated pest management. Because it's not enough to tell people what not to do. It's vital to give them sustainable alternatives and to protect our vital future. So Ed, what are some of the ways people watching across the country and around the world can help?
You can go to the silent auction website at tinyurl, that's tinyurl.com/bid, that's BID, for OURF. I'm going to say that one more time. The website is tinyurl, all lowercase, tinyurl.com/bid for OURF. You bid one or more on one or more of the outstanding items available. I don't like war, but I wouldn't mind seeing a nice bidding war if it helps raise funds for the foundation.
That's great. You know, there are a lot of wonderful items, Ed. Anything there that catches your eye?
That trip to Borneo, I think I got to get to Borneo at some point soon while I'm still alive. I'm 70 now. If I don't go now, I don't know when I'm going to go, buddy.
That's great. Well, I hope you can join me on an Ecotour. During the evening, one of our volunteers, Harvey, will be monitoring the bidding action, and we will keep you informed in the chat portion of your screen. Now watch for that. Now, bidding will end later this evening, so don't wait till it's too late. And all the people who purchased tickets before tonight's live stream and the sponsors will see their names appear during the course of the evening. For those who haven't made a donation, you can do so by texting the code CECP to 44321. That will take you to the campaign we are raising funds for, and everyone who donates $25 or more will have their name appear during the event and in the rolling credits at the end, if we can get to them, because we got to process this. Now, as I mentioned before, donations of $500 or more will get a digital orangutan to hold up a sign with their name and their donation amount. So how are we doing so far, Brandon? Looks like we've got, wow, it's getting up there. We're getting close to $5,000. Let's make it keep going. Before I forget though, if you have some questions for Leif, Ed, or me, please send them through Twitter with the hashtag Pongo, it's Pongo 2020. We'll spend a few minutes later on to answer some of the questions.
All right, back to the program. It is my pleasure to introduce someone I've known for many years and loved for many years. An ex-singer is an accomplished voice actor, best known for being the voice of Jimmy Neutron, a wonderful show, as well as the voice of many other well-known characters. How are you, Debi?
I'm so good, Ed. I'm so glad to see you again this year at the Pongo Awards and to support this phenomenal foundation. Jimmy Neutron wants to say, everybody support the orangutans, God bless.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Deb. And thank you, Ian Hall, who's right there. Now, here's Ian and Debi performing a song written by Sean Thompson and J.P. Taylor called Being an Orangutan.
Being an orangutan would be a lot of fun. Living in the jungle away from everyone. Eating when I want and pooping where I please. What a life in the tropical trees. I wouldn't have to grovel for money like those corporate thieves. No sinking in consumerism up to my furry red knees. Being an orangutan, my life would be a breeze. I wouldn't look for trouble, I'd just try to appease. You wouldn't catch me hooting like those chimpanzees. No, I'd be loving my life in the leaves. I wouldn't do Facebook or Twitter. No Instagram for me, if you please. I wouldn't even need a computer, 'cause I'd be living my life in HD. Yeah, being an orangutan would be a lot of fun, with crazy long arms for locomotion, swinging through the leaves and some trees, my red hair blowing in a breeze. I wouldn't have to go to the supermarket or have a text messaging bill. All I'd have to do is build my nest at night and eat fruit till my tummy was filled. Being an orangutan would be a lot of fun, but I need those trees, so don't chop even one. Being an orangutan would be a lot of fun, except for extinction. Let's save those orangutans. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Ed.
I have the honor now of presenting the second Pongo Environmental Award of the evening. Nearly 25 years ago, a beautiful tract of rainforest was destroyed in a distant part of Borneo. This senseless act of destruction inspired a high school student named Rhett Butler to try to make a difference. Rhett spent the next 4 years working on a book to raise awareness about rainforests. In that effort, he created a website so everyone could learn about rainforests. He named the website Mongabay after a stunning rainforest island off the coast of Madagascar. From that point forward, he devoted his days and nights to writing stories about environmental issues affecting rainforest, wildlife, and people. More than 20 years later, Mongabay is a leading environmental news service that employs more than 50 staff across 5 bureaus and works with about 500 contributing journalists in over 70 countries. Mongabay prides itself on delivering news and inspiration from nature's front line. Let's watch this video clip.
Hi, my name is Rhett Butler, and I'm the founder of the conservation news website, Mongabay. I started Mongabay 20 years ago out of my passion for nature and wildlife. Since then, the site has grown well beyond my wildest imagination. We have more than 50 staff and some 500 correspondents in about 60 countries, reporting on a wide range of environmental topics, from oceans to wildlife to forests to conservation. We do original reporting in English, Spanish, Indonesian, and Brazilian Portuguese in order to reach key audiences and decision makers. And most importantly, our reporting has real on-the-ground impacts. Our stories have catalyzed action against illegal logging and mining, inspired conservationists to use new promising technologies to increase their effectiveness, prompted companies to adopt zero deforestation commitments, and raised global awareness around critical issues. As a nonprofit media outlet, Mongabay is heavily dependent on support from readers like you. With your help, we'll be able to continue to expand our offerings, covering more places, topics, and in more languages than ever before. So if you're able, I would be most grateful for your support. Thank you for your time and interest, and thank you for reading Mongabay.
Joining us from his home in the Bay Area, 2020 Pongo Award winner, Rhett Butler. Congratulations, Rhett, for your work in creating Mongabay and making the premier news source for conservation issues on the front lines.
Thank you, Gary. This is really a tremendous honor. I want to thank the Orangutan Republic Foundation on behalf of everyone at Mongabay, including our staff and network of contributors. It's truly humbling for us at Mongabay to be honored with such an esteemed group of previous winners. So thank you again for this wonderful accolade. And thank you again to the foundation for your important work at this critical moment in time.
Thank you, Rhett.
Thank you so much for being here tonight at the 7th Annual Pongo Awards. Orangutans are one of humankind's closest living primate relatives. All 3 species are critically endangered in the wild, and they are in need of your help. Orangutan Republic is doing amazing work in Indonesia, trying to ensure the survival of orangutans for future generations. So please give generously tonight. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to hold up this statuette so that Rhett could see it. I'll make sure you get it. Unfortunately, the U.S. Postal Service is having some problems. I'll make sure that I'll be sending it to you when the postal system is working well. Thanks, Rhett. Okay, when I conducted my pioneering research on sign learning by ex-captive orangutans in the jungles of Borneo, I had personally witnessed the major threats facing orangutans in wilderness areas. In the 1970s and early 1980s, it was logging, both legal and illegal logging. Vast swaths of forested areas were being cleared for the tropical hardwoods for use in the plywood or timber industry. The ex-captive orangutans that we were rehabilitating were a byproduct of this industry. If a mother orangutan with her baby was spotted during the logging operations, poachers were contacted who would then shoot the mothers and sell the babies into the illegal pet trade if the babies survived the ordeal. This was completely illegal, as orangutans have been protected in Indonesian forests since the days of the Dutch, before independence. But in the late 1980s, and since then, while forests have been harvested for wood, they've also been cleared to make way for estate plantations, increasingly for the cultivation of the African oil palm tree, to produce a commodity known as palm oil. One of our board members, Susan Callery, who also serves as an officer of the board, is our palm oil specialist. I'm delighted to hear her speak about the latest on palm oil and how the Orangutan Republic is involved.
Thank you, Gary. Ed, it's good to see you. Thank you all for being here. For those who are joining us for the first time, palm oil is an edible vegetable oil that comes from the fruit of the oil palm tree. And these trees are native to Africa, but they were brought to Southeast Asia just over 100 years ago. Now, Indonesia and Malaysia make up 85% of the global supply of palm oil, but there are many other countries in tropical regions that also produce palm oil. And palm oil is problematic because it's a major driver of deforestation in some of the world's most biodiverse forests. And it has destroyed the habitat of many species and many endangered species, including the orangutan. Believe it or not, it is in half of all packaged products we find in the grocery store. It is in everything from pizza to crackers to cookies, yes, your Oreos have it, to candy, to soap and makeup. It's a very versatile oil, and it has a very high yield compared to other oils, so that's why it's so popular. So the RSPO stands for the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. It was formed in 2004 to promote the growth of sustainable palm oil products through the engagement of a large body of stakeholders, from growers and plantation owners to traders, millers, and retailers and manufacturers. The stakeholders also include environmental and social NGOs, and also banks and other entities that fund these projects. So the RSPO is the largest multi-stakeholder body that is committed to sustainable palm oil. There are other organizations like this, but the RSPO has the strongest set of requirements among all these existing entities. However, monitoring and assuring the standards are met is very problematic. You can imagine the chain of the supply is very large. And studies are conflicted as to whether it's been successful or not. So let me give you the bottom line. There are members that represent 94 countries. There are almost 5,000 members now. The number of small, what we call smallholders, but they're small farmers, has increased significantly in the RSPO. And in fact, the number increased by 165% in a one-year period from June 2018 to June 2019. So the thing is, a relatively small portion of the industry is certified palm oil. About 19% of palm oil is certified by the RSPO, which translates to about 15 million tons or 3.16 million acres. So we have a long way to go. So what can you do? I know everybody has a lot on their mind right now. We're all dealing with pandemic issues and trying to figure out how to feed our families. But you can do something for us. You can learn about palm oil and the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. And you can see the organization is rspo.org. I encourage you to go there and learn about it. You can also go to other organizations like the World Wildlife Fund. Our organization has information. And also, let's see, I'm trying to think what else. There are some others. Just Google palm oil and Google sustainable palm oil and really learn about it. The other thing you need to know is that palm oil, when it appears on packaging, comes in many different names. So learn the different names. And then I encourage you to contact the retailers and the manufacturers and ask them to please commit to sustainable palm oil, sustainably produced palm oil. And we can all do that, and it doesn't take too much time. So I really encourage you to try to make a difference. And thank you so much for letting me talk about this. It's a very important issue, very near and dear to my heart. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. the Orangutan Republic Foundation was able to secure a grant from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Department to acquire a four-wheel drive vehicle and establish a program called the Mobile Education and Conservation Unit. From 2011 to 2019, this program was operated by young conservation educators to take the conservation message from the city of Medan to the villages around Lusur National Park in North Sumatra. Not only did the team provide conservation education about orangutans to the local communities living at the border of the national park, they helped improve the livelihood of the local people, most of whom live an agrarian lifestyle as farmers, plantation workers, or ranchers. They built small schoolrooms, engaged with the youth to become local conservation ambassadors, and planted trees in the riparian zones to prevent erosion. They even worked with the national park under a memorandum of understanding with the park department to restore degraded forests. Now, over the 9 years, the local foundation we supported built their capacity and decided to move forward on their own. But some of the staff encouraged us to support the creation of a new organization that could continue this community-based conservation education program. We agreed and started working together on their program and budget. Indeed, it became my belief that we should be giving support to new groups of motivated conservation educators to create their own organization and support them for a limited period of time, mentoring them to seek their own funding. So in late 2019, the Orangutan Republic began funding the work of the Green Sumatra Foundation and their community education and conservation program. We encouraged them to partner with other local NGOs and to build their capacity over a period of time, starting with the conservation education in local schools, livelihood enhancement training, and tree planting. In May of this year, the Orangutan Republic was able to successfully complete a crowdfunding campaign to purchase a four-wheel drive vehicle, allowing the new organization to access remote areas around Lusur National Park. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has slowed down the program, but the team is still going into the field. Now, joining me from Sumatra is Mr. Alfi Siregar, leader of the Green Sumatra Foundation. Pa Alfi, it's good to see you again. How are you doing in Medan?
Yeah, hello, Pak Gary. We are all here and staying safe.
Great. Pa Alfi, our guests have seen the brief video of the work you and your team are doing. Can you tell us what your biggest challenge has been during this pandemic?
Yeah, Pak Gary, our biggest challenge has been being able to spend more time in the field, in the village around the national park. We cannot spend the night in some village or gather in like groups. So we are making short day trips to the village to safely walk with smaller groups of people.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to say to the attendees of our virtual fundraiser?
Yeah, Pak Gary, on behalf of everyone at the Green Sumatra Foundation, thank you for supporting the Orangutan Republic Foundation fundraiser tonight. Because you are helping the Orangutan Republic, you are also helping us in our program to educate local people so they care for the orangutan, wildlife, and rainforest environment. As we continue to help villagers improve their livelihood, they will become less destructive to the forest and wildlife. We can make sure wild orangutan in the area will be safe. Thank you once again, Pak Gary.
Okay, Pa Alfi, thank you for joining us on this live stream, sharing your thoughts with our attendees, and please keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Gary.
When my wife, Ingriani, and I started the Orangutan Republic in 2004, we did so with a passion and enthusiasm which we've been able to maintain. With little money, we started the organization and began outreach events at the farmers market in downtown Santa Monica, where we sold handicrafts from Indonesia and spoke to people about orangutans and our mission. It was there we began to attract volunteers who assisted us in setting up, running the booth, and taking it down every Sunday morning. We did that for over 5 years. And since then, volunteers have been the backbone of our organization, helping us perform various functions. Some of the volunteers who helped at events have been with us since our beginning. Many others have joined in recent years, assisting with grant writing, outreach events, program administration, fundraising, just to mention a few functions. I wanted to acknowledge those volunteers who've assisted me and our board throughout the years, and also want to acknowledge the sponsors and donors who have made tonight possible. And finally, let me recognize our partners who we work with throughout the year. Ecosystem, a vast rainforest in northern part of Sumatra that is as iconic as the Amazon or the Congo. It's the only region on Earth where rhinoceros, tigers, elephants, and orangutans coexist. The Lusur ecosystem also contains Gunung Lusur National Park, which affords additional protective status to endangered species. However, as is the case throughout most wilderness areas on the planet, the park and the larger ecosystem is under threat from illegal incursion and plans to convert the forests to agriculture, mining, hydroelectric systems, and roads. When government has been lacking in the Lusur ecosystem, the nonprofit sector has stepped in to defend the integrity of the region with an array of programs. I met our next Pongo Environmental Award recipient, Farwiza Farhan, last year when I was in Banda Aceh, the capital of this very conservative province in Indonesia. I had known that she had met Leonardo DiCaprio and had also won the prestigious Whitley Award in 2016 for her efforts in establishing the group HAkA, which means Forest, Nature, and Environment of Aceh. I was very impressed by this woman, in whom I sensed a power and a presence. Indeed, she was totally committed to the work of her organization to oppose those who would destroy the Lusur ecosystem. Citizen lawsuits have enabled her to bring destructive industries and corrupt government into the courtrooms in the name of the local people and the integrity of the forest ecosystem. Her organization is opposing illegal palm oil plantations and restoring deforested areas, tackling poaching, and empowering local communities to participate in government land use planning decisions. Farwiza has been able to shift the balance of power to the local level and support people in defense of the incredible Lusur ecosystem. Let's see a little bit more of her important and remarkable work. It's my honor to present the 2020 Pongo Environmental Award to Farwiza, Farhan, and HAkA for being a powerful guardian of the looser ecosystem. Unfortunately, Farwiza can't be with us on the live stream, but she has sent us a pre-tape. Let's play that now.
Hi, my name is Farwiza Farhan, and I'm the chairperson of an organization called Forest, Nature and Environment Aceh. It's an honor for me to be receiving this Pongo Award, along with so many others who have worked hard to protect, conserve, and restore ape habitat all around the world. Yet at the same time, it's a strange time to be receiving an award like this, as we all dealing with the impact of coronavirus pandemic. Our economy has collapsed in so many ways. This pandemic have been blamed for lost jobs, for economic recessions, and for suffering all around the world. At the same time, it have allowed us to rethink our relationship with nature. This is a true manifestation of a lose-lose situation. When we destroy our environment, our economies is destroyed as well. But tonight is not the time for doom and gloom. Tonight is a time for celebration. Yet, as we celebrate, I'd like to invite you to talk about it. Talk about the issue that matters to you. If you are here watching this, apes and orangutan matters to you. The health of the planet matters to you. Talk about it. Talk about it with people that you care about. Let's bring this conversation into the mainstream. Let's bring this conversation into our daily consciousness and daily conversation. Celebrate, talk about it, and we find solution together.
I hope everybody is taking a look at the auction items on the Charity Auction Today website. Please remember, in addition to honoring environmental heroes, we're raising vitally needed funds to support our field program and the conservation educators who help reduce human-wildlife conflict and improve village livelihood, because it's not enough to tell people what not to do. It's important to give them alternatives that benefit their families and community. If you've never been to the rainforests of Indonesia, you should plan to do so once this pandemic is behind us. There's a thrill of adventure, the overwhelming feeling of awe and respect for the forest, and an appreciation of the amazing beauty of the biodiversity surrounding you. Our Pongo winners tonight, all of them know what I speak of as they take their own trips into the rainforests of the old and the new world. Now, I wanted to make sure to let you know that my wife, Ingriani, and I will be hosting a 2-week Ecotour next May when travel is safe again. We would like to offer a $250 discount coupon to the first person who both registered tonight and who books a spot on the Ecotour with us. The coupon is courtesy of Orangutan Odysseys, the tour operator for our May 2021 Ecotour. Check it out. In 2005, my wife Ingriani and I visited Medan, Sumatra, and met with the leader of the Orangutan Information Center, Panut, Hadisiswoyo. We talked about working together and decided to create the Orangutan Caring Scholarship Program. The following year, after a competitive process, we gave out our first scholarship to a young woman who was attending the University of North Sumatra in the forestry program. This was a 4-year scholarship to pay for her tuition and her write-up for her research. Now, since then, we have given out 192 such multi-year scholarships to students seeking degrees in the natural sciences and going to colleges in the provinces of North Sumatra, Aceh, West Kalimantan, and Central Kalimantan, all provinces where orangutans still range in the wild. We plan to add East Kalimantan next year to complete our coverage. We work with trustworthy local orangutan organizations who have their own education program and who want to implement this valuable university and college opportunity. Since we began, over 100 students have graduated in the fields of biology, forestry, and veterinary science, and many have already joined other conservation organizations to support the efforts to save orangutans. Our goal is to create a community of college-educated graduates who become significant advocates for orangutan survival in all walks of life. Now, not only do the students receive the scholarship benefit from the program themselves, so do their families and local communities where they live. Here is one of the students who received a scholarship a few years ago.
Hello, I'm Malakaviani Stepu. I am from Forestry of North Sumatra University. I'm so glad to be here, and I want to say thank you so much for Orangutan Information Center, Orangutan Republik Foundation for the chance had been given to me, so I can be a person who can get the scholarship. This scholarship is so useful for me, for my financial education, for my financial research. So come on, join us to care about orangutan, care about their habitat. Save orangutan, save our forest. Thank you so much.
The Orangutan Caring Scholarship Program is one of our signature programs. We are happy that Panut Hadisiswoyo, who is a former Pongo Award recipient, is joining us today from Medan, Sumatra. Also joining us is Darsima, a former scholarship recipient, now working with Panut in Medan. How are you all doing tonight? Good to see you.
Hi, Gary. Hi, everybody. We are doing all right here.
Everybody keeping safe from during this pandemic?
Yeah, it's a bit boring life, but it's actually really a good momentum for us to think about our own, world that actually has to think about many things. The pandemic brings us to think a lot of more time to think about, what we need to do to protect our nature.
Great. Well, we're in our 15th year working with you and OIC, implementing the Orangutan Caring Scholarship Program. Panut, how has the scholarship program benefited orangutan conservation?
I want to say that thanks is not enough to actually deliver to you, Gary, because of this scholarship, we actually really move forward with a new era for conservation. Conservation is about engaging people, and then conservation needs to have more advocates, and without engaging them, it is actually a failure. And then you actually lead the way to think about how to engage more people, especially the young generations, to think and to take actions, and also to bring the cause into actually a good way to protect our orangutan in the forest. And the scholarship makes this actually possible to engage the young generations. And now many young people in Medan, in Sumatra, in Aceh actually really want to get involved in this conservation action.
Well, it's so nice to hear you coming from you, sir, from your point of view and your perspective in Indonesia, because it really is the mission of our group, really to transform people. And I think the scholarship program is definitely one of those important programs. So let me turn to Darsima for just a moment. Darsima, how did the Orangutan Caring Scholarship help you?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Gary. The answer, how did the Orangutan Caring Scholarship Program help me personally? The answer is a brief story of me. I started to know about the world of conservation when I became one of the Orangutan Caring Scholarship recipient in 2013. Since then, I regularly visit OIC office, learn about their programs as additional knowledge, and had the opportunity to discuss about my research plan. And in the middle of 2013, I decided to did internship in restoration program. It was due my interest in plants and phenology. After spending last 3 months in restoration site, my interest of the nature grew deeper. The more questions that emerged, it's something I didn't find at college.
It's a wonderful story. I think you have a little one there that is going to eventually become a conservationist herself, watching you, her mom. And hopefully, yeah. So now, Darsima, we know that you are running the Orangutan Caring Scholarship Program for OIC. So it's really wonderful to see a student who received the scholarship work with a conservation organization and actually help us further this program in North Sumatra and Aceh. So thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I never mind I was reaching this far, because the reason why I applied for Orangutan Caring Scholarship was to get financial support for my research. So yeah, I'm very grateful to be one of the recipients of the Orangutan Caring Scholarship as the first step to get to know and teach me about the world of conservation. So it's very nice experience for me, bring me until now.
Okay, well, I want to thank you both for being here in this segment of our program. I think you have enlightened our audience, and they've made a connection with both of you. It's very important to motivate the people of the world. As was said before, Jamartin said this is a global issue. We need to mobilize the planet to get involved, to support programs like this, where people like yourself who want to get an education in natural science can do so. So we want to thank you for being part of our program, being part of OIC, and we want to also let everybody know that we have a sponsor a student program. We have a little graphic somewhere. In fact, you can go to our website if you feel moved by what you've just heard and you really want to help out. This is one way to do it, because we've got this program online. We would love for you, especially during the holiday season, to maybe visit the website, purchase maybe a scholarship package for somebody you care about, and help us ensure the long-term survival of this program, because that's really what I'm trying to do, is leave a legacy so this kind of scholarship program can continue indefinitely. That's one of our goals. So thank you once again, Panut, Darsima. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you the next time I'm in Medan.
Yeah, I can't wait to host you again and enjoy durian fruits.
Thank you. Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye, Gary.
Yeah, bye.
Okay. Ed.
Yes, it's great to see young people in Indonesia getting an opportunity to obtain higher degrees in fields that will help the orangutan in the future. We're very pleased to see that. And Darsima's daughter was a star. It's the best thing about the broadcast so far with Darsima's daughter there.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful, really beautiful. Right now we're going to hear a song from a dear friend and musician that I've known for many years, a great guy. Freebo is his name. He's going to be accompanied by the wonderful Alice Howe. Now, Freebo is a world-renowned bassist, best known for his 10 years with Bonnie Raitt, my dear friend and great musician, great activist, Bonnie Raitt. He's also an award-winning songwriter, writer whose music will touch your heart, the songs of life, love, dogs, and the human condition. Alice Howe is a rising voice in folk and American music whose latest album, Visions, produced by Freebo, is a modern love letter to the 60s and 70s folk and timeless beauty scene. So watch this now with Freebo and Alice.
Thank you, Ed, and good to see you. Alice and I are happy to be joining you for the 7th Annual Pongo Environmental Awards, and we'd like to congratulate all the honorees tonight.
We live on one small planet in the solar system, the only one known to harbor life. Freebo and I are concerned about the health of our planet and about the perils facing so many endangered species, including the orangutan. Thank you to the Orangutan Republic Foundation for all the work that you do to protect these amazing creatures. I've always felt a particular affinity for them, as I was also born with orange hair. Thank you to all of you tonight for your support.
We'd like to do a song that I wrote that's apropos of the situation, and it's a song called To the Light. It goes like this. I've heard it said the earth looks peaceful when it's seen from outer space. Such a pretty place for you and me. How do we hear the wisdom of the crickets in the night, singing out of sight from way down here, where there's only right or wrong? Why can't we just try to get along? I've heard it said, there's 100 billion galaxies of light, lighting up the night for you and me. We could be just as peaceful as the earth from outer space, living in a place of harmony. Oh, such a lovely sound. Why do we put one another down? Just consider that there is no wrong or right, and consider that there is no black or white. There are always shades of gray to help us find our way to the light. To the light. To the light. I've heard it said. Every culture has a history in stone, dances of their own they like to do. Wouldn't you like to be accepted just the way you are? Is that really hard to see? Couldn't we find a way to understand and blow away that line in the sand? Just consider that there is no wrong or right, and consider that there is no black or white. There are always shades of gray to help us find our way to the light. To the light. To the light. Dee dee dee. 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 There are always shades of gray to help us find our way to the light. To the light. To the heard it said.
I've heard it said.
The earth looks peaceful when it's seen from outer space. Such a pretty place for you and me. For you and me.
For you and me.
For you and me.
For you and me.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice Howe. That was just wonderful. Let me tell you about the next recipient here, Paul Redman, an award-winning documentary filmmaker whose work has involved directing, filming, and editing a variety of films on a range of issues, including the trade in tiger parts, whale and dolphin trade, illegal logging, and the ivory trade. His work has involved extensive travel in hazardous environments in numerous countries. His footage has been used in news features for programming on BBC, Sky, CNN, and a number of other major broadcasters. Been nominated 3 times for the Filmmakers for Conservation, Filmmaker of the Year Award, and is founder and project director of If Not Us, Then Who? If Not Us, Then Who is a US registered charity that supports a global awareness campaign highlighting the role of indigenous and local peoples and what role they play in protecting our planet. The organization works in partnership with communities to make films, take photographs, commission local artists, and host events with the aim of building lasting networks, targeting unjust policies, and advocating for greater rights for indigenous and local people to bring about positive social change. Let's hear some more about Paul and his organization.
Start the fire to warm your only will. Birds and worms are nothing to be feared. Fly high to learn how eagles see. If not you, then who will take it? If not you, then who will do it? If not you, then who will make it? If not us, then who?
We are pleased to honor Paul and If Not Us, Then Who with our Pongo Environmental Award in the category of Environmental Film and Media. Congratulations, Paul.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks for this beautiful statuette. It will be on my desk as a reminder of the majesty and mystery of the natural world. I'll see it and know that deep in a forest somewhere lives a great ape, master of its world. While its jungles remain, it is a unique representation of the evolution of consciousness, a reflection of ourselves. The orangutan understands that without its jungle, it cannot survive. And I don't think we fully understand this truth. Without forests, our Earth cannot function. It cannot regulate its temperature and it will not survive. We are born of this Earth and we will perish with it. So how can we save this planet? We need to look no further than ourselves, because deep down, we know how to live in harmony with this planet. To help us discover this truth, we need mentors in this struggle, someone to teach us what we have forgotten. I would argue that for this, we need to look to indigenous peoples. Scientific consensus recognizes that indigenous and local peoples are a scalable climate solution. Where they have secure land tenure, there are lower rates of deforestation with better forest and biodiversity conservation. There is a version of ourselves that exists, and where they exist, the Earth benefits. Imagine that. This is what we have been trying to explain in our work at If Not Us, Then Who. Supporting communities is the best way to save our planet, to save our forests, and to save orangutans. There exists a parallel world today where there are good communities, an abundance of food, a spiritual connection to nature, and a resilience against the uncertainties that plague our world. This parallel world is in a last-ditch fight for its survival, and we cannot afford to let it go. Support indigenous and local peoples, and you protect the orangutan. Part of my effort to protect this planet is in telling these positive stories of this struggle, so we can know how to engage and find another way of living that is closer to nature. I believe that we are not fighting for nature, we are nature fighting back. Thank you.
Amazing. It's time to check in to see how we're doing tonight, but I did want to just say how I was moved by Paul's acceptance speech and the messages he was giving us. Very, very important. Now, what does the donation progress meter look now, Brandon? All right, it's getting up there. Wonderful. $7,700. We are about a third of the way to our goal, but you know, it's really important, everybody, that we give from our hearts and we do it for the sake of what moves us. And you know, if we don't reach our goal, you know, we will do okay. But I just want you to let you know that we appreciate every dollar that's given to our organization during this live stream. We're, you know, uncertain about how it's going to turn out, but we do know that with your help, we have a chance to keep our team in the field at the end of the year. And so we really want to thank you for your support. But let's see if we can make it go up a little bit more. And let's also see if we can, like to acknowledge some of our larger donors that we know. Mr. Sudomo, for example, who made the $2,000 donation. Thank you so much, Pa Sudomo, one of our founders. And once again, you can go online to tinyurl.com/CECP 2020 or text CECP to 44321 and make your donation. Remember, tonight we're raising funds to save the biodiversity in the Gunung Lusur National Park through our conservation educators and their efforts in the Community Education and Conservation Program. You could also go to our silent auction, which should be going on for a few more minutes, another 15 minutes, to make bids on some of the donated items or some of the more exotic consignment items. And we've got, as you can see right over here, some really nice artwork up for bid. I mentioned before the Princess book. That's also out there, the AZAC book, books that were featuring some of the work I did a long time ago. Now, one of the amazing things about running an organization like the Orangutan Republic Foundation is meeting wonderful people. When those wonderful people are also moved and inspired to join your cause, it makes it doubly rewarding. Now, I met Max and his wife Henrika after I received an email from them regarding supporting orangutan conservation. Long story short, Max and Henrika, who run a company called Panomatics, wanted to donate a percentage of their sales to our organization. In addition, they wanted to expand their support in Europe, where they were active with other clients. Later, Henrika, who was in Bali at the time, helped organize a fundraiser, our first outside of the United States. Max later joined the board of the Orangutan Republic Foundation, but has always expressed a desire to do more. So late last year, he commissioned a team to go to East Borneo to record some 360 video all around, right, of the orangutans being cared for and reintroduced to life in the wild. So tonight, Max is here from his home in Thailand. And it looks like maybe we lost the feed for Max. But what Max is able to do is have a team go out and shoot and record in 360 video. He was able to get out there before the pandemic, his team, and they were able to bring back some really stunning images. So we're trying to get him back onto the live feed. He was actually with us for quite a long time, so he may have timed out. But you know, when you go out and you watch the orangutans in real life, being able to see it in another perspective is sometimes very, very enlightening. I mean, those of us who can't go out into the field, we need to feel more kind of connected to what we're seeing on the screen. So having this new technology is very, very useful. And we're hoping to get Max back so we can play his film for a few minutes. There he is, Max. You're back.
Hi, Gary.
You're back.
Nice to see you.
Oh, thank goodness. I had to stall a little bit, do a little song and dance here on the live feed, but I'm glad you're back with us. Maybe you can get right to it and let us know something about what you're doing. Share the screen.
All right, here we are. So we've created a 360 degrees view of one of the rescue stations in Borneo. And this is to illustrate on how the orangutans develop once they get found and put into a rescue station. So this is in East Kalimantan. And these are actually the helpers who feed the orangutans in the morning before they take them to play school. So it's a quite good way to see. Here you see one of the helpers going into the field. One orangutan is below, and one of the helpers is carrying two of them. And that's what they normally do when they come out of their cages in the morning. They take them so they can go and play and learn to become an orangutan again.
Well, it's amazing footage. Obviously, we need to see this probably at a faster speed once the product is completed. So what are your plans with the videos that you're taking, Max?
Our idea is that we want to bring this to the schools in Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore and educate the youngsters and the teenagers so they can see with their own eyes on how orangutans live in the forest and get a deeper connection and hopefully then change their being a little bit and be a bit more responsible with our environment. That's
great.
So here, once they have finished orangutan school, they go to a place called Orangutan University, and that's here is Hercules, who has now proved that he can build a nest. As soon as he's proven this, he's going to be released back to the wild. So that every day the volunteers they come and they feed Hercules, so he can get a first glimpse of being in the wild and free again. Just across the river, you see the little rescue station, and here we see Hercules. 360 technology sometimes is a little bit new. Being on the boat with 6 different lenses filming in different direction creates distortion. So here we've got a volunteer team to actually bring one of the orangutans into the forest, and we have filmed a wild release. So here you'll see, you kind of, this is supposed to be for VR glasses. So students can really put these glasses on, hear the sound, and really experience this amazing happening, and we hope it will change them, and it will make us all better humans in the future.
Definitely.
So, and then I'll give back to Gary. Gary, thank you very much for having me here. And of course, I will share the video with everyone after the show so they can watch it.
Thank you so much, Max, for joining us from Thailand. I know it's you're living in a paradise. Many of us would love to come out and visit you, but at least you have a chance to have you come visit us on the live stream. Thanks for all you're doing, and we'll be in touch very, very soon. Thanks so much, Max. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks.
At this time, we're going to bring Leif Cox, president of the Orangutan Project, and an expert on orangutans to join Ed and me back here in our digital forest. Now, during the live stream, hopefully some of you have learned some new information about orangutans, more about what our organization is doing to address the plight of the species, and perhaps been inspired to support the fundraiser. You may also have some questions that have come to mind about issues we have not yet covered. So for the next segment, we're going to answer some of your questions. So, first one, what are some examples of orangutan culture? Now, Ed, I'm not sure you are the exact person to answer this, but you got an idea maybe? What? Ed, we got to get your sound back on, Ed.
Hold on. Sorry, I defer to the experts. I know a fraction of what you guys know, so I want to hear from you, and I don't have much to contribute at this point.
Well, let's ask Leif, because I know Leif is somebody who can probably answer this question. Some examples of orangutan culture, Leif?
Oh, there's many fantastic examples of orangutan culture. To just put it in perspective, large brain animals which have long maternal periods, such as humans and orangutans, actually adapt to the environment far more by culture than by natural selection. And so basically everything we do, how we act, is part of the culture. And we see wonderful examples of this with orangutans, with the calls they use, the food they eat, the tools they use, yep, and also the way they raise their individual infants. And so this is how they strategically adapt to the environment, and it's far more effective than natural selection alone, because they can train each individual infant to be uniquely adapted to the ever-changing environment.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do we have another question? What has COVID-19 done to the orangutan centers? Well, I can probably answer that. I think most of them, if not all, have been closed to the public in an effort to keep the spread from coming in, because as you know, orangutans, just like humans, can succumb to and be affected by diseases like the flu or hepatitis, or in this case, we're not 100% certain, but by COVID-19. It's also very, very difficult to get in anyway because of the increased level of screening and protection that these care centers do have. So the answer is they're buckling down. They're making sure that only the minimum skeleton staff are taking care of the orangutans, and they're also doing the cleansing and all of the other types of methods to ensure that the disease is not going to enter the facility. Can you add anything to that, Leif?
No, it's just that we know that obviously orangutans share about 97% of genetic material with us, and our previous experience with orangutans is that it's susceptible to pretty much all of the same diseases we are. However, like a lot of the indigenous communities, we see are often far more susceptible to modern diseases. We unfortunately suspect that COVID-19 may have a more severe effect on orangutans than even it does in humans. So we have to be highly cautious about transmitting to the captive and wild populations.
Very good, very good. Okay, we have another question. How smart are orangutans? Well, I think, Ed, you know, we've known each other for a long time. You know that I've spent a little bit of time working with them trying to understand their ability to learn and to communicate. So, I mean, I've got plenty of stories. I know that, Leif, you've also spent time with them, and you know how bright they are, and escape artists from the zoos, and many, many stories. But I think, you know, the answer is they're probably as smart as any other great ape, and perhaps in some domains, when it comes to individual problem solving, even maybe a little bit smarter, if you want to look at it that way, than the other great apes. In fact, they have to live on their own, figuring out things, so they're very clever in, say, problem solving, puzzles, things of that nature. You got anything you'd like to add to my response, Leif?
Building a large brain in the rainforest or any environment is a very expensive exercise because it consumes a lot of calories. So you only become intelligent in the ways which help you to survive. And therefore measuring like to like intelligence between two different species can be fraught. An orangutan may be a dunce in a classroom, but the genius in a rainforest. And from an orangutan perspective, we're really dunces. For example, their spatial temporal memory to learn where fruit is in the forest over many years far exceeds human capacity. And so they are a genius in their own way, just as we are smart in our own way. And we can be a little bit disingenuous if we start comparing too much. But the general tests that we've seen done by experts over all the great apes and other animals definitely show that orangutans are a contender to be only eclipsed by humans as the most intelligent being that shares our planet.
Very well stated. No question, every time we study them, we learn something new about their intellect. We learn a lot about, in fact, you know, watching them in the natural world is probably the best way to fully appreciate their intellect. The work that I did years ago, I probably wouldn't want to continue for a number of ethical reasons, but I think by watching them in the field, we get a true understanding of their intelligence, and it's like intelligence we measure with people too, right? We have kinesthetic intelligence, we have mathematical intelligence. There are different domains of intellect. So the word smart is really a misnomer. I think it's only, useful in a very general way. So we got another question. Last question. Can you save orangutans without saving their habitat? All right, Leif, I'm going to turn that over to you because I know you've got something to say about it.
Unfortunately, it may be difficult to save orangutans in the wild, but it's impossible to save them in captivity. The megafauna that zoos hold, such as orangutans, are all unsustainable and will actually die out themselves unless supplemented from wild populations, which is increasingly understood to be unethical. And so the key element to conservation is protecting the habitat. Without the habitat, they cannot survive. And the other aspect, of course, is because orangutans are persons, they don't do well in captivity. They need to survive in their own cultures, in their own societies, free and wild. So both from a conservation perspective and a welfare perspective, we need to conserve them in the wild. But the important thing is, this not only benefits the orangutans, it benefits the whole globe through mitigating climate change. It helps the indigenous communities, and in the end, helps support a sustainable economy for Indonesia and Malaysia.
Thank you so much, Leif. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to draw our questions and answers to a close. Thanks, Ed, for joining us on this segment. Thanks, Leif, for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Take care. ladies and gentlemen, we're getting very close to the end of our live stream, but we've got a little bit of musical entertainment that we're going to finish up on this part of the show. Our singer and musician, his name is David Blake. And David is not only a talented musician and a student, he's also a volunteer for the Orangutan Republic Foundation. I want to thank David for doing work behind the scenes and coming up right now to do a song for us. So I'm going to just turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shapiro. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm David Blake. I been with a volunteer with the OURF for a few years now, and it's really a great program. And I encourage other people, if they have interest in wildlife conservation, to consider being a volunteer, because it's really support of a great cause, and you do meet a lot of great people in networking through this. But yeah, I'm gonna play a song tonight. This is original by me called "What Makes a Man," and it's basically just about how throughout your life as a guy, sometimes you get a lot of definitions of what it takes to be a man. Say, you go to war, be a man, or go over to that girl and tell her you love her, be a man. And really, that's all just kind of opinions from people. There's no strict definition of how you should act. And I feel like this also relates to environmentalism in a way. And some people can tell you the best way to be an environmentalist and certain practices that you need to do in order to be an environmentalist. But it's all really opinionated, and any little bit really counts. And whether it's donating your time or getting out there and collecting data, any way you can, it's all the same. It's all contributing to the same thing. But yeah, this song's called "What Makes a Man." What makes a man is it to turn the other cheek, is what makes a man to avenge a friend in grief. What makes a man is it to win or just compete. What makes a man is it the heart to admit defeat. What makes a man is it a vow to never lie, is what makes a man to disguise his desperate cries, is what makes a man in the attitude to do or die. What makes a man is it to stand and question why. What makes a man is it the equals that he's killed. It's what makes a man and the reputation he can build. It's what makes a man the count of tally marks to coffins that he's filled. What makes a man is it the stains from blood he's spilled. What makes a man is it the pain he can endure. What makes a man is it the country that he serves. What makes a man is it the trauma he's preserved. What makes a man to fan the banner that he burns. What makes a man is it the cash that he collects. What makes a man is it the girls, the fear, the respect.
What makes a man? Is it to one up the known best? What makes a man? Is it the cleans or makes the mess? What makes a man? Is it to cause his lovers moans? Is what makes a man the push to never be alone? What makes a man? Is it a woman of his own? What makes a man? Is it the man that he can clone? What makes a man? Is it the son he works to teach? What makes a man? Is it the goals he's set and reached? What makes a man? Is it his house built on the beach? What makes a man? Is it to prove he is no leech? Come on. What makes a man? What makes a man? Oh, what makes a man? What makes a man? What makes a man? Oh, what makes a man? What makes a man?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Earlier this year, Oscar winner Joaquin Phoenix starred in a short film called Guardians of Life. It was written, produced, and directed by the talented Sean Monson and the banner of Extinction Rebellion and Amazon Watch. Guardians of Life is a powerful story of a global issue metaphorically brought into an operating room with a patient who is dying. Here is the film.
What do we got? Who knows the history?
Wildfire's approaching. She was frantic. Collapsed. There's more. Discharge from 4 artery bypass yesterday.
All right, somebody draw labs and get a blood gas.
What happened? Intubated on the way. CPR ongoing.
Very low pulse. Doesn't sound good.
It's a clear post-op infection. Pipeline's all clogged and ruptured. Rising out of control. Gotta open his chest up.
She's probably bleeding. Probably in tamponade. Serial drape.
Take over. Betadine?
You are cutting. All right, cutting wires. Need some help. Clean hands. Opening chest.
Gotta lower the body temp. Oh. There's a lot more damage than
Let's really clean this up.
Start internal cardiac massage.
Give me an amp of epi.
Napa bicarb.
Paddles.
Heart's not moving.
Paddles.
How much? Charge to 100.
Clear. There's no pumping.
Keep massaging.
Still nothing.
Still no cardiac activity.
Does anybody feel pulse anywhere?
Keep massaging.
It's not working. Systemic heart failure.
That's not pumping.
I got that.
You want to call it?
Doctor.
We're done.
We have systemic failure.
Time of death. Midnight. One passage. One passing, 2 on passing, 3 on passing. 1 passing, 2 on passing.
Orangutan Republic Foundation is honored to present the Pongo Environmental Award to Guardians of Life and to writer, producer, and director Sean Monson.
Oh, thank you, Ed. That's very kind of you. Thank you. It's a great honor to be awarded this beautiful award, and I love what it symbolizes, the orangutan, because it occurs to me that each sort of key species really represents all life or all of nature, whether it's the orangutan in the rainforest or perhaps the rhino in Africa, whether it represents the oceans, if you will. And when this project came about, when Extinction Rebellion and Amazon Watch came to me and they said, "Hey, what if we did a public service announcement?" Because this was in last fall of last year, and the Amazon was burning. And the thought that arrested me was that you can raise awareness, but if there's not really an emotional connection, perhaps awareness is more statistics or facts or figures. And so I thought, well, what if we sort of did something that correlated it instead of showing statistics and things? And that's where this idea of an operating room, an ER, and a metaphor for the rainforest. And as we finished editing and getting the special effects done, it was the new year. We shot it in October and we edited through the holidays, and then by late January, Australia was burning. And so it was just incredible. From one news cycle to another, there was this destruction of the trees that give us so much life. So we added that element to it. And I hope that the emotional component of it maybe has a more positive effect with viewers. But I'm honored to be, that the film is recognized, and especially honored to have Ed Begley presented, Ed Begley Jr., because he's been doing this as long as I'm alive, and he's been awake for so long. And so, Ed, thank you for all you've done for so long. And thank you very much to the Orangutan Republic for this prestigious event, this prestigious award, and for all the great work you're doing to raise awareness and hopefully have an emotional connection as well. So thank you.
Wow. Very touching, Sean. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost. Well, thanks, Sean. Thanks, Ed. We've now returned to where we started. We need to recognize that indigenous people who live in rainforests, including orangutans, are keepers of immense knowledge about the biodiversity, ecology, and interconnections of the complexities that is the rainforest biome. Now, Dr. Gregory Togg argues in his newest book that orangutans are eco-engineers performing valuable environmental services. Sadly, we in the developing world have ridiculed and marginalized forest peoples for centuries, believing our way of life is superior to theirs. But as we know and see, modern humans have not done a very good job as stewards of this planet. And we are now being called upon to stand up and advocate for those that protect the forests. The COVID-19 pandemic was the result of human behavior that allowed a novel infectious virus to emerge from a natural reservoir of bats and or pangolins into the human populations of the world. Will we connect the dots and recognize that protecting forests and keeping the biodiversity intact within the forest is one way to prevent the next pandemic? I hope so. Now we've come to the end of our live stream. I want to thank all of our Pongo award winners tonight, Jamartin, Rhett, Farwiza, Paul, Sean, and also to Leif, the Consul General, and to all of our guests from Indonesia. Certainly many thanks go to the professionals like the good folks at What You Want Productions, Brandon and Gary and Kim. Thank you for working the magic behind the computers. We appreciate that very, very much. Thank you, Mr. Ed Begley Jr., for being here tonight. It's mean a lot. Thanks to our staff in the back room there, Jason, David, Susan, Harvey, and did I miss somebody? I think we got them all. We've got a very small staff here because we're all socially distancing. It's been a challenging time for everybody. I do know that so many people have helped us out, and I couldn't finish up without thanking my wife, Ingriani, for supporting me for so many years on this passion. It's not easy. It's taken its toll, but it's, I think, made us a better couple and a much stronger team. So I want to thank you, Young Ying, for being there for me. So, have I forgotten anybody? Hey, how about this? Let's take a look at the final tally for tonight. Where are we? Looks like we're getting close. Almost $10,000. Well, you know what? That's a good number. For those of you who weren't able to join us tonight, if you're watching this, remember you can still continue to donate after the live stream is over at tinyurl.com/CECP2020 or text CECP to 44321. I want to thank you all for being here. Have a pleasant evening and take good care of yourself. Good night.